Designed as a volunteer organization, will always be a volunteer organization. We fund only to the level that staff can support volunteers. Sometimes when we talk to other groups and they say, I hear you had 1,000 people on Capitol Hill seeing every member of Congress, and some from the other big groups who have hundreds of million-dollar budgets ask us how big our budget is, and we tell them this year it was $2.5 million. They say that's impossible. But nevertheless, because we're a volunteer organization, that's the case. And our development director has done extraordinary work in, you see the growth of CCL in terms of volunteers and chapters, but she's also created that kind of growth in our funding. From when she's here, it's quadrupled the size when she started. And this year secured our first MacArthur grant, which was huge, and and just recently secured a commitment from Rockefeller for the first time. So, that's getting all your material, right? As I'm looking at her, I think I'm stealing all of her material. So please join me in welcoming Lynate Pettengill.
Actually, it was all of you that secured the MacArthur grant because they don't care about me, they care about what the heck you guys are doing, which is freaking amazing. Whoa. So I want to ask you a question. Do you remember what it felt like before you found Citizens Climate Lobby and Citizens Climate Education? I know I do. I was terrified about climate change. And what scared me even more was that very few people seemed to be concerned. A few of my friends were, but they thought it was too big of a problem, that there was nothing we could do about it. I kind of felt like walking around and shaking people. It's like, come on, wake up. Then I stumbled upon CCL and CCE. I knew I'd found what I was looking for. These clever people knew there was something we could do about climate change. And we are doing something about climate change. We're creating the political will necessary to implement a significant climate solution, to ensure we have a healthy climate for many generations to come. We still don't know how this is all going to play out. As you are all too aware, we're already seeing dramatic effects of climate change, and that's with CO2 at 407 parts per million. I still get pretty scared some days when I hear what's happening to our oceans, our reefs, our glaciers, what's predicted in the future. But we do know that the sooner we implement a significant climate solution, the less the effects of climate change. And we're starting to see some positive signs that we're getting close to implementing such a solution in the US. I also know that no matter how this all plays out, I'm part of the Citizens Climate family. And I'm walking this path with some incredibly smart, incredibly savvy, and incredibly tenacious family members. I kind of think we're going to fall more on the how well this all plays out side of the scenario, because we are a force to reckon with. A wonderful, loving, powerful force, changing the world, creating history, creating a bright future for generations to come. We're also an ever-expanding force to reckon with. Last year when I stepped up on this stage, we had just passed 15,000 supporters. We set the goal, rather optimistic goal, of growing to 35,000 supporters by this conference. I'm thrilled to share with you that we are now at 39,546. You did that. So I am our Director of Development, which means I think a lot about money. Money which we use to support and empower this ever-expanding citizens' climate family. We need to make sure that our infrastructure keeps up with the 39,546 supporters who are doing incredibly complicated work, providing support and coordination for you as you do your amazing feats at home, in district, and here in DC. Our combined budget for both organizations, as Mark mentioned, is $2.5 million. So far, we've raised $916,426 towards that goal. We have two organizations. CCL is a little bit more of our public face, and we support our volunteer lobbying through this organization. It's a 501c4 nonprofit, which means donations to CCL are not tax deductible. Our sister organization, Citizens Climate Education, is a 501c3, and donations to CCE are tax deductible. CCE trains our volunteers on the most effective ways to educate the public, media, community leaders, and elected officials about the risk of unmitigated climate change and about the benefits that a significant climate solution will bring to both our economy and our climate. So I need to ask for your help to make sure we get funding in place for both organizations. You should have received this brochure in your packet. On the back, you'll see contact information for Mark and me. I want to ask that you call or email me if you know anyone that you think would be interested in our work and has the capacity to make a gift of $10,000 or more. All right, talk to me after. I'll be right over there. Some of you might hear this request and think I'm a crazy woman, that there's no way this could possibly work. Well, this crazy woman is here to tell you that it has been working for us. We've gotten quite a few leads and gifts from these leads. One of our volunteers, who's sitting in this room today, brought the name of a friend to me, and she followed up with that friend, and that friend gave us $100,000 at the beginning of this year. So when you bring this perhaps not so crazy woman a lead, I'm happy to support you as you approach this person or foundation, or I'm also more than happy to do all the follow-up once you make that first personal introduction for me. It's that personal connection that's key to success here. Because your friend trusts you, and if you're recommending that she check us out, she's going to be a lot more likely to talk with me than if I'm just making a cold call. It's all about the messenger, which we know from our lobby work, right? So thank you in advance for any and all leads that you bring to me. As Mark and I were discussing the goal to set this year at the conference, we thought about setting our sights on 70,000 or 80,000 supporters, but this year it didn't seem big enough. I'll pause for dramatic effect. Mark came back and said, this is our goal, that we're going to get a bill passed by the end of next year. Right? Yeah. I am deeply grateful for your vision, your bravery, your commitment, and your tenacity. And your great-grandchildren or your friends' great-grandchildren are going to be extremely grateful that you didn't give up, that you dug down deep and you persevered, you gave your all, and you were your most magnificent self as you did this work. And those great-grandchildren are going to be incredibly grateful that together we created the conditions necessary to implement a significant climate solution, and that together we ensured a healthy climate for many generations to come. Let's do this. I love you guys.